Hello everybody, welcome to the channel if you're new here, welcome back if you are not. It's Baby Jesus with another gathering / gold making guide. Today we will be taking a look at blueberries. Blueberries are slightly underrated and overlooked very often. They are used for a lot of late game and early game kitchen crafting, and they also sell for a good amount on the market, between 50 cents and 1 gold per blueberry. Now, because they are somewhat overlooked, you are going to be able to find them pretty abundantly throughout the world. I have come up with this route here that is very, very efficient. It works well with the timing of the respawn blueberry bushes, and you can do it at basically any level due to the low level of the mobs that are here. Now, before we get too far into this, I do want to say if you find anything at all beneficial in this video, please consider hitting that subscribe button. If you really like it, leave a comment, tell me what you did enjoy, and if you didn't like it, please also leave me a comment to let me know how I can improve for future videos. Now, all that being said, let's hop right into the video. So this will be taking place just north of Windsward and just southeast of Everfall. We are going to be doing this near the Starstone Barrows expedition, just to the south of the Valley Tempest right here. So we are starting on this little outcrop here, and this is going to be our first section of bushes. Now, there are going to be a lot to gather, so if you do want, please take a screenshot of the map whilst we're here. I will also show you guys a breakdown where I do draw all the lines between all the gathering nodes that I do at the end of the video, so feel free to screenshot that. Now, without further ado, let's get right into it. So you can see here we do have our blueberry bushes right in front of us, and you will find that they do typically spawn in large clusters like this. So even though it feels like you might have gathered just a few, just keep in mind, gather all of the clusters that are around. So after we've gathered this first one, we're going to head up towards these little ruins right here. Now, again, there are a lot of clusters to gather, so just keep in mind, or just be aware of where we are gathering. Like I said, I will be putting that map up afterwards, so you guys can use that as a reference point. If I could hit a shot, that guy would not be bothering me. Now, I won't be gathering all of the lynxes, skinning them. If they do attack you, just make sure you get your money's worth out of that attack. I say it often. Make sure you are going and skinning them and getting that raw hide for your troubles. So you guys can see we are just here to the left of the entryway of the ruins. So after you've gathered that big bushel there, we are just going to head through the opening, and we're going to make our way up towards where it actually says Valley Tempest on the cliff face there. Now, if you follow this route, you should be decently okay to avoid most of the mobs. But again, they are in the mid to low level 20, so you should have no problems dispatching them at this point. And if you do find yourself a little too low level, don't worry about it. Come back when you're ready, and you should have no problems. For those of you who have watched the egg gathering guide, you will notice some familiarities or some similarities as to where we are. It's because it's in the same spot. This is a gold mine for gathering and harvesting, this area that is. So make sure you are taking advantage of it whenever you're around here, even if you're just passing through. After you've gathered those, we're just going to head up to the outside of this wall towards the little elbow of the road there. Now, for those of you who are unaware, a lot of different gathering nodes do come in different sizes. So blueberry bushes are not an exception to this rule, and they do come in 3 different bush sizes. So you can get small bushes like this one right here. You can have medium bushes like this one right in the middle here, and you can have large bushes like the one to our left. Now, they all come with different drop rates in terms of how many blueberries it will drop you, but they also come with different respawn rates. Now, those respawn rates are somewhat sequential. So, for example, we are going to go right here for our next ones, by the way. We're not going to push too far out yet. So those respawn rates are for small bushes 8 to 12 minutes. The medium bushes are 12 to 15 minutes, and the large bushes are 15 to 20 minutes. Well, you guys can see sometimes the blueberries don't always spawn in the same spot, so here unfortunately we did not gather any, and that is all right. We're now just going to make our way to the outside here, to that little L elbow over here. So because of those respawn rates, as I was saying with the blueberries, this route does take roughly 20 minutes to complete. You guys saw some eggs on the ground there. So that being said, by the time you're done the entire route, you should be able to get all the way back just in time for all of the bushes to be respawned. In my tests, this yields anywhere between 500 and 700 blueberries, all depending on if all the spawns are there at the time. So just keep that in mind. It can be quite lucrative, especially when they're selling at, like I said, 50 cents to $1 a piece. And you can do this every 20 minutes effectively, so run it in perpetuity. As you guys can see, thankfully these little defenders here, they don't have a very long or very far aggro range, so you should have no problem just sort of walking in between them. Now again, we did just cross over the street here to get to this big blueberry patch, and this is one of the larger ones on the route, so just make sure you're not missing any of them. You guys can see here we're getting anywhere between 1 to 9 blueberries depending on if it's a small or a large blueberry patch. You guys see that's where we are right now. So you can keep walking up this way. Sometimes you find some more, or you can cross straight over the street to go to this direction. So we're going to do both. We're going to walk up here and then cross over the street. Sometimes there can be more that spawn along here. It's all random, to be totally honest, on this one. There we go. We got some. Beautiful. There are some squash that do spawn around here. You're better off to just gather them, especially if they're on your path. If you don't want to walk out of your way to get them, I completely understand. But when it comes to this, where we literally walked over top of them, there's no reason not to gather them, especially if we're already here gathering stuff. Now, all of these are very, very useful for kitchen. If you are not doing any cooking yourself, by all means sell them. It's a great way to make some gold, which is the reason we're here. I don't do any of my own cooking, but I do trade for other things like provide the materials for people to do the cooking as well. So this is our next gathering node here. You guys did see I was right. There were some that spawned along the road up, as I mentioned, over here. But this is your next main node that is always going to be here along the wall. Pardon me. Alright, after you've gathered this one, we're just going to head up to this side of the road. And we're just going to move past. Again, their aggro range is not long or not far, so you don't have to worry about them just jumping at you, sort of like lynxes do. If you guys are familiar, lynxes have one of probably the largest aggro ranges in the game. I think all felines do, actually, oddly enough. Alright, here's our next little blueberry patch. The beauty about blueberry patches, opposed to, say, for example, eggs, is you can spot them a mile away. They're really easy to see. They stick out like a sore thumb with all that blue amongst the foliage here. So it's very, very easy to see them, very hard to miss. Our next ones are just going to be on the inside of the track, if you will, as I've come to call it. We're just going to head across in here. Now again, when you're doing this, I would highly recommend you're gathering and killing everything around you, especially the rabbits. You can get some pretty good crafting material for, or from them rather. So just make sure you are doing that if you have the opportunity and the time to do so. Our next gathering node is just going to be directly in front of us in this general area. We're going to make sure we check to see if it spawns, and it did. Beautiful. And we ran over some more squash, so why not? Squash do sell pretty well as well. Again, when it's something like this where there's scarcity, where it's not a common drop from anywhere else, you have to physically go out and gather them, just like blueberries, eggs, for example, squash. They're always going to maintain a very, very high selling point, both in terms of quantity and in terms of cost. So just keep that in mind. You guys saw some more eggs on the ground there. I would, again, strongly recommend you gather them if you're crossing over. Now you guys saw we just went up to the outside of this track here, again, as I call it. You guys see this is another very large bush here. Now, if you guys are interested, eggs are another fantastic way. I know I've mentioned it a couple times. We have walked over them. Eggs are a fantastic way to make some money. If you want to make a quick amount of gold that is going to always be consistent, take a look at eggs. I'll post a link to that video either in the description or up above. You'll be able to click on that and go take a look at it. Fantastic routes, fantastic way to get there, or get the eggs themselves, and just a very, very scarce resource that's always going to sell extremely well. So just over here through this thicket, we should be able to see our next amount of blueberry bushes, and there they are right here. Perfect. You guys can see we're now at 200, edging on 250 blueberries now. So again, a very quick way to get a very large amount of these blueberries. We're about 9 minutes in now. You guys see there's a soul sprout. Gather those. Soul motes and soul essence and wisps sell extremely, extremely well. Very important for infused potions late game. So after we've gathered these here, we're just going to make our way down towards this ruins right here. So straight ahead, effectively. And that should be our next little bush of blueberries. And there we have them. You guys see those were the large bushes, and then these are a couple of the small ones here. So after you've gathered those, we're going to make our way to the outside towards this road right here. Now, I say it in all of my videos, and I recommend you do it as well. If you're following along to this, make sure you're putting those pins on the map. One, it's going to make you a lot more familiar with the map, but two, it's going to make sure you don't veer off the path, if you will, and you're running in the most efficient route possible. It's really easy to sort of get lost as to where you're running. You guys saw here, we're walking over some squash. May as well gather it. This cat is going to attack us, and that's okay. Just gonna dodge him, take him out. So the blueberries should just be on the other side of this thicket here. You guys can see the bright green amongst the orange. It helps you find them. After you've gathered these ones here, we're just going to cross over the street, and this is going to be our next gathering node just on the other side here. Excuse me. You guys can see it right there. After you've gathered these blueberries here, we're just going to head down to this nook right here, and then we're going to start making our way in and gathering everything on the inside here. You see, there's a ton of rabbits out here. If you're going for that game meat, if you're going for the rabbit meat, some great way to make some money there as well is to go for this. I think it's called sumptuous rabbit meat. Incredible way to make some money, and again, they can only be gathered from hares. So unless you're not willing to make the effort to get them, you're not going to get them effectively. So you need to buy them from someone, and if you are that someone trying to make some gold, would recommend it. So as I mentioned, we are going to make our way inside now. Now this is where you start running the risk of pulling some aggro. Just remember, even if you do their low level 20s, you should have no problems dispatching them. So we're just going to make our way through. And here is our next blueberry patch. You guys can see this is a quite large one. You want to make sure you're not missing this one. Again, we are just right here on the outside of this little open box-looking ruin. So, once you've gathered this one, we're going to make our way towards the main road, and we're going to sort of go for like the second outcropping on the wall there. So you can go around. A little soul worm. We'll take that. Fantastic way to get soul motes. So you're almost guaranteed to aggro that defender there. So you're just better off to get him beforehand. Yeah, we have a soul sprout. It's on our path. Why not? Perfect. So, once you're here, we're just going to head back out this way to the main road. You're not going to have a choice but to aggro this guy, and that's alright. There we go. We're going to take a look, and you guys can now see the blueberry patch spawning over on this side here. There we go. So once you've gathered this blueberry patch, we're going to stick along the main road for a little bit. We're going to go down to this little section over here. Seems like they might not have spawned here, and that's alright. After we take a look for this one, we're going to make our way down towards the main gate. Or the main entrance, I should say. There's not really a gate anymore. And this should be another, a fairly large blueberry patch down this direction. Yeah, here we go. Right here. There you go. You see, fairly large. We're now at 383 blueberries. After this, we're going to make our way along the wall, and we're going to head up and just gather a couple that spawn back here and make our way back down. So just make your way out this way. Go for the break in the wall. And you guys see there's a defender there. That's alright. They have the smallest of the aggro ranges, I believe, so you can basically walk next to them with very little issue. After you've gathered this one, we're going to make our way back up around the ruins this way. So you can stay the outside of the wall. There's less mobs. You don't have to worry about aggroing anybody. And there is some that spawn right here as well. These are another one of those random spawns. They are here sometimes, not all the time. They're not a defined spawn. I don't think they follow the normal spawn limits or spawn rules in terms of timeline. So just keep that in mind. After you've made it around, you guys can see they're spawning up on this little hill here, and that's perfect. Again, we are just right here by the outcropping in the cliff there. After you've gathered these, you can gather this squash that does spawn here, and we're just going to head down the cliff. You guys can see the blueberries right to our left there. This cat will get angry. You may as well be preemptive and get him gone. We might have to skin him just to be able to get the blueberry bush, and we're good. After you've gathered this one, we're just going to keep heading around and stick to the cliff face. We're just going to go down here. There's sometimes a spawn of blueberries right around this area here. Doesn't seem like it's here this time, and that's alright. We're just going to head right back up. After you've checked down here, we're just going to make our way back down to where this dark green meets the light green. And we're here, may as well get this. So as you guys saw on the map, we didn't really go very far. We stayed around the Starstone expedition almost the entire time, skirting in and out of it, mostly sticking to the outside. It allows us to get a lot of blueberries without a lot of mobs, so you don't really have to worry too much about it. So it's a nice little spot to be farming them. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like these blueberries spawn. Take care of him really quickly here. And yeah, does not seem like these blueberries may have spawned, and that is alright. We're just going to gather this squash and we're going to move on. We're just going to head back here, and if you guys have noticed, this is our starting area. You guys can already see the blueberries that we started off with have respawned as well. And there you have it, guys. That is the blueberry route for today. You guys can see we did manage to go all the way around. We gathered everything around the Valley Tempest, around the Starstone Barrows expedition, and managed to come all the way back around. You guys can see we did get around 443, or not around exactly. We got 443 blueberries. It took us around 15 minutes to do so. If you want to multiply it by 4, that's what you're going to get. About 1,600 blueberries an hour, give or take. Which, again, if they're selling for 50 cents each, or if they're selling for $1 each, that's going to change your gold per hour substantially. But if you can take the average out of that at 75 cents per, you're going to get around 1,000 gold an hour, which is nothing to shake a stick at. Or if you are cooking, you're going to have all the blueberries you could ever want. Now, for the people who do ask for it and do like to see, I completely understand. Here is your map, and I will show you guys the route for all of the items. We're gonna draw on this here. Perfect. So for this route, we did start exactly where our marker is, which is just down here. We started right here. We made our way up towards these ruins. Afterwards, we moved all the way along to this cliff face and gathered right here. After that, we moved up to the elbow here, outside of the ruins, inside here, all the way up, across the road, up across the road again. We went inside here, gathered these, went up, all the way down to the ruins right here, across, into this ruin here, all the way outside, down to this elbow, all the way down to here, and then we moved inside to this open box looking ruin, across the street, down here, all the way down. We stayed along the main road, remember, out to the broken wall, around, up to this cliff face, down here to check, see if there was any down here, moved all the way back to this section here, and then made our way back to our start. So you guys can see we didn't really go near the entrance to the expedition, and because of that we missed any of the higher level mobs. I hope this helped, guys. I hope you found this beneficial to you. If you did, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Please consider leaving a comment as to what you did or did not like. And that is it, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Have yourselves an amazing day, and I will catch you all in the next one. Cheers.